We are live. Hello, everyone. Welcome. I'm so excited to be back with the new chat show. This one's called Does It Resonate with You? Where we are going to throw out a lot of things on a lot of subjects, and you can take what works for you and leave the rest. I'm your host, Angie, and this is my co host, John. Say
Hello.
hello, John.
Hi.
I'm excited to just get right into it. Friday the 13th is kind of a juicy topic. So, just a little background here for moving forward. We will be picking new topics every week. There's a few places where you'll be able to see them listed. One in the Lasting Serenity Insider group, also on the Lasting Serenity page. You'll probably also be able to see them on John's page,
Yep,
Tarot
I'll
Geek.
post them too.
So if you have any questions or anything, feel free to go in and ask questions on there, ask questions on the YouTube channel. Please, while you're at it, go over and subscribe to the YouTube channel. If you're seeing it on YouTube, it's we'll put up the link. We'll put up I'll put up the link to the YouTube channel or the what is that? The at address? Like
Yeah, the channel address.
the
Right.
channel address. It's like at Angie5907 or something like that. So, but I'll put that up before we're finished. Anyway, hello, John. It's great to see you. I'm
Hi,
so
Angie.
excited.
Yeah,
Tell
this is
us
gonna be cool.
just a little tiny snippet about yourself, and then I'll tell a little bit about myself, like 1 minute, and then we'll move on to the exciting subject of Friday the 13th.
All right. So let's see. Let me just tell how I kind of got into this whole world. Um, about maybe 5 years ago, started getting interested in tarot, and I took a class on one of Hay House's class with Radley Valentine, and Angie was also in that class. And so there's like, I don't know, maybe four or five of us that all kind of gravitated together and just started hanging out online and doing stuff together. So yeah, I got my roots in tarot. Angie, much longer, of course, and deeper roots in a lot of this cool stuff. But just really thrilled to be part of this.
Me too. Oh, I'm so excited. So, some of you that are watching will probably have seen me before, on my old talk show with Michael Meyer, who I miss a lot. He's doing well. Um, I call myself an energy master these days. I don't focus on any particular energy, not Reiki or, nothing in particular, but I embrace it all. I want to know all about it. So, goddess energy, the energy of joy, the energy of Reiki, the energy of AK. Like, how does it all fit together? And how can we use it to make our lives here on Earth, on this planet, better? So, that's what I'm all about. Anyway, so why don't we just go ahead and get started? Friday
Sure.
the 13th. What Tell us about the number 13. Let's start there.
Okay. So I did a little research, and there's kind of two theories of how 13 became known as the unlucky number. The first one is that the biblical number of 12 happens all the time in the Bible. 12 tribes, 12 disciples. There's a number of other 12s in the Bible, and the the understanding was anything beyond that is suspect. And so over time, 13 became known as an unlucky number because it was one beyond this holy number of 12. The other theory, this one's a little bit wonkier, is that when people in the Middle Ages, uneducated, they could count to 10, right? Got your 10 fingers, and they counted each foot. So you had 10 fingers and two feet. You've got 12 there. Anything beyond that was unknown, right? They couldn't count that high. It just wasn't anything you needed to get to. So that number one beyond 12 was suspect and therefore became unlucky.
Hmm. So I think I asked this before when we were, getting ready. They didn't think about their toes.
So that's where it gets like, well, maybe toes were just too hard to count, or
I
maybe
mean,
maybe they smelled bad, and you just had to, like, we're not going down there. We're just gonna count them from up here.
interesting. So I didn't actually take the time to look up, but I mean, if you look at the number 13 itself, it's also breaks down to a 4, right? I think 4 is a pretty auspicious number in numerology, is it not? I
Yep,
mean,
it
it's all
is.
over the angel numbers,
Oh, absolutely.
444 is like
444, that's a big one. Yeah. So tell everyone what you said about numerology and 13. It really depends on,
it depends on the month and the year, right? Like
right?
for a particular Friday the 13th to have any kind of numerological meaning, you have to also add the numbers from the month and the numbers from the year. So that is going to change what that particular day means in the numerology world, I think significantly. Like, like 1/13/2023. So what is that? 2, 4, 7, 8, 9, 10. So that's a 1.
That's a
But if
one.
it's
Yep.
if it was in, February, then it would be a 2. Like, so
Right.
it would be a completely, and many people believe that you take the numbers and you what do you call that in math where you grind them
Um,
down, right? Like
right.
whatever that is. I can't think of that
Yeah.
word, but
Right. You're
um
trying to pull us out of fifth grade here. Hang on.
but I mean that's what you do, right? Like when you're looking up.
Reduce.
That's it, reduce. When you're looking up the number, your life path number, let's say, you take your birthday, your month, and your year, and you reduce that down to a single, or maybe in some cases a two-digit number. In
Right.
the case of what is it, like 11, I think.
11's, yeah, that's one of the keepers, and there's a couple other keepers.
I want to say 13 might actually be a
I
keeper, but I'm not positive.
Yeah, I think
I'm
so.
not positive. So I think that I read something that a numerologist wrote, and she was basically like, I think Friday the 13th might be unlucky for some people and really lucky for other people, and for a whole lot of people it's nothing, nothing in the middle. So, I mean, I don't know about you, but I grew up thinking or believing that Friday the 13th was a very lucky day because that's what I was taught. And it only comes twice a year or three times a year,
Yeah, two or three
like,
times a year. And for me, our family was very very cerebral. So big thinkers, PhDs. They just gave no thought to anything, whether it was luck or unluck. There were no superstitions. Our everything was very logical and rational. So 13 was used in math. That's it.
oh, okay, that makes sense. I don't know. I know that if I look around and I think about it, the lore out there, like my friends, they all had a thing about 13, and I remember being fascinated when I found out that tall buildings didn't have a 13th floor. And
Right?
I was like, well, of course they do. They're just calling it 14. Like that's me, right? That's
Right.
the
Right.
truth teller that
Yeah,
says
exactly.
you can call it whatever you want,
But
but it's the
you know,
13th
here,
floor.
let's take a little diversion real quick. In China and Taiwan, the number 4 has the same sound as the word for death. And in hospitals, there is no hospital that has a fourth floor. It goes right from 3 to 5 because nobody wants to be on the death floor.
Well, that's interesting.
Yeah, so
I
they have
mean,
a big aversion for that particular number.
wow. I mean, seriously,
Yeah,
like,
yeah, totally. Yep, and I've seen it firsthand. I lived there for a few years, and you even some like office buildings will have no fourth floor.
huh. Well, so isn't that interesting? It's all about perspective, right? Or
Yeah,
perception, like
yep.
what you believe. I used to always look forward to Friday the 13th because I always believed that something good was going to happen. And generally, something did, maybe I'd win $20 on a lottery ticket or,
That's
or
intention and attention,
right?
right? Right?
Right?
You put your intention out there, you pay attention to something, and that's the key to manifestation.
That's exactly right. Oh, for heaven's sake, stop. Oh my gosh. Well, I was going to try to answer a comment on my phone, but of course, naturally it starts playing, and so we actually we have someone in one of the on one of the feeds that said she thought the same thing. She's a friend,
Yep.
Joanna. Hi,
Hi,
Joanna.
Joanna.
Nice to see you.
Thanks for
Um,
coming.
and so she's of a similar mind. Like the day is what you probably the day is what you make of it, right?
Yeah.
That's the way I see it. Now, for me, some of the most fascinating part of it, like as an energy master, is the idea that before the patriarchy, Friday the 13th was considered the day of the goddess. And I am here to tell you, based on my experience, that that goddess energy is present
That is so
always
cool.
on Friday the 13th.
That is
You know,
really
the
cool.
divine feminine, feminine wisdom, you know, like female power. So energetically speaking, you know, and no offense, okay, no offense, but leave it to a man to be the one to call Friday the 13th, you know, an unlucky day.
Unlucky.
And how easy we are or how easy, not that's not quite the right word, but how quick we are as humans to accept the fear consciousness around something, right?
Right, right. Well, when, how did the 13th, how did Friday the 13th, how did you learn about it? It's because some kid in school told you, oh, Friday the 13th, it's unlucky. And suddenly now it is, right? Before that, it was just another day. But some kid
Right.
at school tells you, and now everyone, believes it. So,
Right. Well, although, I mean, all the way back to 1487, that is really kind of when Friday the 13th seems to have started being considered an unlucky day. Uh, you know, that's got roots in the witch hunts and the witch trials and everything. So before we move on to that, I think, you know, I'd like to give another minute to the divine feminine and female power. And I'm just here to tell you, ladies, that the matriarchy is coming back. And I'm going to leave it at that. But the patriarchy is crumbling. And that's all I'm saying. And that's it. That's as, what do you call, what is the word?
succinct.
Yeah, no, it says, it says, I don't know, dangerous. Right. That is right. It's to honor the cycles of creation, death, and rebirth. So actually, there are 13 cycles in a year of the moon. A woman has 13 cycles in a year. And it does represent birth, creation, death, rebirth. Um, so I mean it's creation and fertility. So 13, you know, but again, it is what you make of it, right? So if
Right.
you
Yep.
believe it's an unlucky day, it is going to be an unlucky day. You know, that there is so much of the power of thought that is wrapped around the idea of Friday the 13th. I mean, I'm telling you, for me, I believe it's a lucky day. And look at that, I'm looking at my oh, look, well that's not good. One computer says 313, one says 14, 314. Mm. Anyway, that shouldn't really be like that, I don't think. Moving
Right. I was just looking for my divine feminine tarot card here. Oops, can't see it.
on. Oh dear.
High Priestess. So that's the second card in the major arcana, or third, actually, concluding the zero. The High Priestess is the divine feminine card.
Hi, Wendy. We have some guests in somewhere on the Facebook page or maybe on you. Oh, no, it looks like I could tell they're all coming from Facebook. So anybody who's listening on a podcast, we also broadcast on YouTube, in a Facebook group, and on a Facebook page. So if you ever wanted to see us or even maybe join us, you know, look us up that way. And but we wanted you to have access to our conversations. So we
Absolutely.
wanted to make sure we posted it everywhere you could possibly get it. So, wow. So what do you have any rituals or anything you do in particular on Friday the 13th? You know, do you do you watch behind you or look for your shadows, or do you know anybody that does anything like that?
No, but I like to do a special tarot reading on the 13th. It just feels like, hey, if we're going to talk about luck and energy and um, manifestation, let's do one extra. Curiously, I usually do a one card pull. Today I did two, and I got the Tower. So if you want a nice unlucky card from the deck,
Really?
yes, the Tower came out for me, and so that's what's got me you know,
Looking over your
looking
shoulder.
over my shoulder all day long. I'm like, okay, Tower usually means something crazy is going to happen. And what are we at here? Pretty close to the end of the day. Uh, so far, so good. Maybe I shouldn't say anything.
I don't know. I think that's another one of those things. So, I mean, that while I'm an experienced reader, I'm not an experienced tarot reader. Like, I don't really have in my mind the framework of tarot.
Right.
So when you
You're more
say,
intuitive, which is, that's almost better in some ways.
yeah, it could be. I mean, I believe in the framework of tarot and I believe that it applies if you understand it, right? Like if you have that in your filter, then it applies. But when you say the tower, I think, oh, good, I can climb to the top. Like it holds no connotation for me.
Yeah, it's a dark card if you were, brought up learning the very traditional tarot. But well, like Radley's decks, he even renames the tower. I'm trying to see
Yeah,
if
I
I have
think he
one of his
does,
decks
doesn't
here.
he? And we have a comment that says, "For me, there are no unlucky cards,"
Yep.
which I mean, I do believe that. I mean, everybody has things that happen in their lives that could be considered um unlucky,
Yeah.
or not so auspicious. But I think a lot of a lot of a lot of our issue with those kind of things is our reaction to it, right? Like,
Right. Yeah.
you know,
The further along I get in tarot and divination, um, you're basically given a heads up, right? If you get a reading that's I guess warning signs of change, right? Change is coming. That's a heads up. It's not a death sentence. It's not a like it's not written in stone. It's a heads up. Just wanted to let you know you can take this information and make a change if you need to, or you can just know, hey, if something happens.
well, and here's this. Isn't it a really human thing to think that change is a bad thing, right?
Well, in my last day job, it was.
Oh, okay. Well,
And anytime there was an announcement, a company announcement, like, uh-oh, things are going to get worse.
and then when you got out of that job, if when you made the change to get out of that job, that was a very good change now, wasn't
You're
it?
right. You're absolutely right. You're absolutely right about that. Yep.
Something has to go in order to come in. That's a comment in the
Yep.
a comment from the crowd.
Right.
Looks like a Facebook comment. I think I can tell Facebook and YouTube. Um, the difference. I get different icons. Anyway, yeah. So I mean, it really is all about perspective and
Yep.
perception. I think I've heard people say things like, "Oh, I don't want to get a reading because what if they tell me something bad?" Well, you can have a reading with me because I'm never going to tell you something bad. Like I
Yeah.
just don't go looking for that. I don't look for that energy. I don't try to access that energy. And I believe that the energy that's out there in front of us is all good and positive until we allow our ego to get in the way and muck it up.
That's right.
So, I mean, and I think that's a big part of what happens on Friday the 13th, right? So, I thought since you were looking for a card, I would go ahead and pull one. I've got
Okay.
here the Oracle of the Seven Energies. Is it the
I have the
top one?
exact deck right here as well.
I love this deck.
I do
It's
too.
by Colette Baron Reed, the Oracle of the Seven Energies. So let's just see what the energy for this. Ooh. So we got no, wait. I was going to say I need glasses. For a second I thought it was the number 13 card, but it's not. It's number 15 and the card is a powerful move.
Cool.
So I mean, and this looks pretty global if you look at the picture with the queen on the top, and look at that, the queen on the top of the world, right? The queen,
It's like a
the
little
right,
chess
is
piece,
that the
isn't it?
yep, it looks like the queen to me, although I
Yep.
suppose it could, no, that's the queen.
That's the
The
queen.
queen on top of the world there on Friday the 13th, the day of the goddess, right? Like how perfect is that?
That's
So
perfect.
here is what I'm going to tell you, that today is the day to make some kind of a powerful move. Is it a big powerful move? Is it a small powerful move? It doesn't matter. It just is what it is. What do you need to do to move yourself to the next space, to move yourself forward? Make a bold, powerful move. and you are assured that they're looking out for you and that Friday the 13th is going to be a lucky day for you. That's
for
what I'm
sure.
here to tell you.
I just pulled out Colette Baron Reed's guidebook for that card. So the key concepts there are action, movement with purpose, putting into motion your intentions, making, oh, this is good, making choices from an empowered and thoughtful place, and then positive change. So, yes, your divine feminine and your movement with purpose. Yeah, that's all right. Does that resonate with you? That resonates with me.
It absolutely resonates with me, right? I mean, I would hope that it resonates with most people,
Yeah.
right? I mean, if you look at, like, if you just kind of take a moment and look at my sort of motto for my work: visualize, align, surrender, right? Visualize, picture what you want, align, take a powerful step, take a powerful move, and then surrender to the outcome. In other words, don't be attached to a particular outcome, right? I
Yes.
think I
That
think that's, ooh, gives me
yep.
the chills.
That right there, I think, is one of the I'll say that's one of the key concepts for life, where you put your intention out there and then you let go of the result. You let the universe bring you the result. Don't be stuck on how that's going to happen. You're not going to be stuck on your exact picture of what you want to happen. You put the intention out there and then you let go.
Right, because the outcome could be better than you could ever possibly imagine, right?
Exactly. Right.
It could be
Or
better than you could possibly imagine.
or it may be a little zig and a little zag and a little zig and then, right?
Could be.
Yep.
It could be. And and if you spend all your time focused on one particular outcome, then you miss the things that go by, right?
Hmm.
Like, you miss things. So, see, this or something better.
Yep.
We're going to have Joanna on as a guest next
I
time,
know.
or
We
one
have
of
our
these
first
times
raving
anyway.
fan.
Yeah. So, um wow. Yeah. Interesting too. Now we can move on a little bit and go to the idea of Heinrich Kramer,
Oh yeah.
who wrote that book, who
So
really
what's the tie-in to 13? Remind me what the tie-in was. Wasn't
oh
that the divine feminine or the
well,
feminine energy?
he decided that was the day. I'm not really sure.
Okay.
I'm not really sure. Um well, let's just, you know, I mean, there's so much. There's so much information on Friday the 13th that it's just unbelievable.
Yep. So
So,
let me take the Heinrich Kramer guy. So what we found is he's a German church inquisitor, and he's going after um, he's got this book that he's written called the Malleus Maleficarum, which translates into
hammer the witches, isn't
Hammer
that
the
what you said?
Witches. Yes, Hammer the Witches. So this guy's got a little bee in his bonnet uh, over witches, and he was part of that horrible um, witch, time period where they were burning witches.
And I think he's got a bee in his bonnet over women in general and women in power, powerful feminine leaders. I think he had a problem with altogether. So, I mean, isn't it interesting, that men founded those churches, right?
The
And then
whole
all
right,
of a sudden, um,
the whole
I,
leadership
I
is
I
all
did find a little bit of and I didn't read up on it, so please, no letters. Don't call me out on it. I didn't read into it too far, but I did find that there was a couple of little references to. I feel like what he was getting at was he was not a fan of the sexual power that women had over him. That just is what it is, right? Like,
right.
So I do intend to look into that a little further and see if I can kind of quantify what I'm thinking about that. But I mean, if you think about it, you know, I think men, if they didn't understand their own physiology, could very easily think that a woman would have some kind of power over him that was really just a natural human
Hmm.
physiological response,
Right,
right?
right, right.
So, maybe he was hyper focused on one of these women, or maybe he got caught cheating on his wife and then he decided he needed to wipe them all out. Who knows? And
Now it's
and what's
personal.
what's really interesting is that if you look at it, mostly the people who got burned at the stake or got even accused as being witches, whether and really you were darned if you do or darned if you don't, right?
Right. I know
Because
it was so rigged.
either way you died. Innocent you died or guilty you died. However they did it with the sinking you in the water or whatever. But they were healers,
Yes.
right? They
Herbs.
understood how to harness the power of the earth. That is no different from what I do. Do I call myself a witch? Not as a rule. Not
Right.
because I have anything against it, but I just never thought about it.
Right. Yep.
Um, but do I harness the power of the earth? Absolutely, I do. Do I use the energy that I can access for healing? Yes, I do. So,
Yep.
would I call myself a healer? I would. So, would I, knowing what I know now, back then have been in danger? Probably.
Probably. Almost certainly.
And me and my big mouth, they had me. I'd be up top there. They'd be like, let's light her on fire right now.
You're first, Angie. Sorry about that. Yeah, this
Oh
this
my
book,
gosh.
the Malef anyway, the Hammer of the Witches book, that was the book that was used as the classification of how of it was used for the whole doctrine of finding and then getting rid of witches. It was kind of from that book, everything else um, followed.
Wow.
So yeah, it suggests it literally suggests ways to torture. I mean, and this is coming from the church.
Well, and again, I already put myself out there by saying the patriarchy is crumbling for
Well,
today.
yeah,
So I'm not going to go into a conversation about the church.
nope. But just kind of looking where things have come from, holy cow.
Is not nice to me. Oh my goodness, what's going on here?
We lost you for a second there, Angie,
Are
but
you
that's all
still
right.
there? I
Yep,
can't
I
hear
am.
you.
I,
Oh,
I'm still here. Can you hear me now?
I lost you too.
Yep,
Okay. Yeah, we're good. I
we're
mean,
good.
this is the day and age of Wi-Fi and everything, right? So it is what it is. Um, let's see if we got anything. So we have Pam who said she always called Friday the 13th her lucky day. I love this. Joanna says something has to go in order to come in. So that's what we're talking about, with the card is just, moving things out of the way so that new things can come in. Oh, and as a shameful little plug, on January 22nd, you can find it on my Facebook page, Lasting Serenity. I have listed a train meditation, the famous train meditation, which is all about clearing things out and making space for moving new things in for 2023. So go over to the Facebook page and look that up and sign up, and I'd love to see you there. Okay.
Cool. Yep.
Shameless
No,
plug is over. Feel free to give a shameless plug at this moment if you have one for
I
yourself.
got one. I got one. So I got my Tarot Geek Zoom party coming up on the 27th of this month. So
And
January
how does
27th.
a person find that?
So best way to do it is to go to the Tarot Geek the Tarot Geek Facebook page, or you can go to tarotgeek.com and sign up there.
Ah, there you go. Tarotgeek.com. Spelled
Yep.
just exactly like you think. Um,
TAROTGEEK.com.
there you go. And while you're at it, if you think about popping over to YouTube and subscribing to this channel, um, while, the talk show is the main thing I'm going to be doing over there, I will be popping on there from time to time doing little breath meditations and, energy sessions and things like that too. So,
Cool.
that's always a good thing to have coming at you. So, I mean, every talk show has a commercial in the middle, right?
All right. All right. Now a word from our sponsors. By the way, we're the sponsors.
There you go. There you go. Wow.
Hey, let me say something real quick about meditation, okay?
Hmm.
So I'm right in the middle of writing a book, and I've talked to three different people that are psychic mediums, yourself included, Angie. And my one question, I have a bunch of questions. One of the questions I've asked everyone is what is our best method for getting connected with the spiritual side? And without fail, without exception, every single person says meditation. So if you are not meditating, now is the time to start. I'm taking, I don't know if I told you this, Angie, I'm taking a class with Suzanne Giesman. She's a medium also, and her class is called Evidential Mediumship. I don't intend to do that for a profession, but I like I like how she works, how she talks. She's very gentle and also a very good instructor. And we had our class Wednesday, and her number one thing was to get you connected for your mediumship is what? Meditation. It's like
Well,
without exception.
without exception. So, I mean, that just you have to make the connection, right? So what is intuition? So I mean, we gave Friday the 13th a half an hour, so I think we can move on a little bit,
Right.
right?
There we are. Let's go.
I feel like an hour is a lot on any one particular subject, so I think probably moving forward we will still do an hour, but maybe we'll have a couple of
Yeah.
different subjects. So, but what is intuition? What is psychic ability? What is intuition? What is empath? Empathy,
Yep.
whatever. It is connecting to and receiving and interpreting energy. What is the first thing in that sentence? Connecting to.
Connecting.
You have to connect to the energy. So whenever I work with somebody on expanding intuition or, enhancing intuition or accessing intuition, that's always the first thing. It's, create that container
Hmm.
from which to work. So that's part of the prayer of intention. That this is the
Yeah.
center of my work and the center of what I teach. A sacred container from which to work, and then a state of neutral, right? So that your ego steps to the side, because it's your ego, your mind that gets in the way of your intuition. And where do you get to those things? Through meditation. It's a short meditation, but it's, and a prayer, because prayer is in the form of,
Hmm.
prayer is what it is for whoever you are, right?
Yep.
Um, and whether you have a relationship with, an icon on the wall of a building to pray to, or you pray to the universe, or you pray to Buddha, or you pray to Ganesh, or to Archangel Michael, like
Hmm.
whoever, what
Angels. Yep.
Archangel Sandalphon, like Archangel Sandalphon, he loves to carry your prayers to places, right? But that is still a meditation. So what I would love to see people do is, because what is the first thing someone says when you tell them to start meditating? I don't know how to quiet my mind.
Right. Right. They
You don't
resist.
have to
Yep.
quiet your mind.
Yep.
Go in and work with what's going on in your mind. Connect with the energy of the room. Set an intention. Move yourself into a centered state. Connected to the earth, not connected to the earth. It depends on what works for you. And then let that stuff float around. Thank you. Thank you for sharing. Moving
Right.
on.
Right.
Thank you for
You
sharing.
know what they
Moving
tell
on.
beginning meditators is like you envision your thoughts as a leaf floating down a river, and as you see it, you let it go. You don't interact with it. You don't try and stop it. You just let it flow down the river. Okay, it's gone. Thank you, leaf. Oh, there's another one. Thank you.
And
Off
and
you
you know
go.
what that is? That is visualize, align, and surrender,
Rock
right?
on, my friend.
That's, I mean, that's where it's all at, right? We have another comment. I love that you said to do what works with you. That is my whole, like, if I can teach one person to move outside of the collective consciousness and step into whatever works totally for them, I will feel like I'm a huge success. And I've done it for more than one person already. So, um, you know, there's nothing wrong with the collective consciousness. There's nothing wrong with it. There's nothing wrong with what's already out there.
Hmm.
But what's already out there has us in the state that we're currently in.
Right, right. Like Einstein said, the thought process that got us to where we are is not the same thought process that's going to get us out of the problem or out of that to the next level. You have to be thinking bigger.
There you go. And I'm going to tell you again, I just love throwing this out there, but as an energy master, making that connection within a meditate, a lot of people will tell me, oh, those visualizations are not meditations. Call it whatever you want. It doesn't matter. I call it meditation. But when I take those actual steps to make that connection and to step outside of the collective, because you can do that, the silence
Hmm.
that you would think would be eerie,
Hmm.
is not. There's a power in that silence outside the collective, outside of the hive mind, that is just amazing. Can you live there perpetually? Absolutely not. You're here to be human, right?
Yep.
You're here to connect with humanity. But sometimes there's times where if you can step outside of the collective and just be alone with your own power, you can shed some of the things within your human body that are creating that dissonance or that disease.
Huh.
And when you
Yep.
come back and move back into your physical body, not like you really get up and leave your body, okay? Like, but when you come back and move into your physical body, there's a new way of being that's available to you if
Hmm.
you continue on that path. So, working outside of the collective consciousness is amazing, and it creates some really amazing
Yeah.
energy sessions. And, um, and the truth is, since it is Friday the 13th, there's an awful lot of divine feminine energy outside the collective consciousness.
Hmm.
So,
Interesting. Wow.
goddess energy really
Yep.
resides
Yep.
outside the collective.
Yep.
There's value in the collective. It brought us to where we are, right? But now we need to it's like a comfort zone, right? The collective consciousness is a comfort zone. We need to push that comfort zone a little further now,
Hmm. It's
right?
the dirty couch you got to get off of.
Yeah, right? That's a good one. Right? I mean, and there are people that are stuck, right? Where
For
they are.
sure.
There
For
are people
sure.
that are stuck where
Yep.
they are.
That's why we're
They
here.
may be they may be stuck until the next time they come, or the
Hmm.
next time, who knows? When everything aligns, everything aligns right, the time and date and space that they decide to come back to this planet,
Yep.
and then they get that perfect vibrational match. That's what it is, right? I have a different vibrational match than I might have in the last lifetime. That's
Yeah.
the way I see
Yep.
it, right? Like, so everybody is where they're supposed to be and everybody is perfect.
Yes.
Now, figure out how to leverage it, right?
Right.
So, there are people that are stuck, but there are people that are not stuck. And there are people who are here whose mission it is to help the stuck people, you know,
Isn't
move
that the
on, right?
definition of the light workers?
There you go.
Right. That's our role. That's why we're here. If I have
Right.
one was it raison d'etre, one reason for being, it is that is to help
It
the
is that.
next. Yes.
The
Isn't that
light.
nice?
And what's really amazing about it is that because a lot of people are like, well, I don't know what I could do. I'm not that special. I can't do this. I can't be that. I'm in a family that doesn't allow, or
Hmm.
whatever it might be. But this is the boiled down absolute bottom line truth. You spread the light by walking in it.
Yes. So here's a quote from Marianne Williamson. What is our purpose on this earth? It is to give and receive love.
Hmm, there you go.
And that's right in line with what you said. You're where you shine your light and shine on. Um,
Shine on.
so sometimes we get all hung up on do, right? I have to do something, but really it's more about be,
Be.
right? Right? If you can be the light, then the doing takes care of itself.
Right? Because it is about then how you react and how you react to things. If you walk in the light, how you react is different than if you didn't. Like you know what? And before I'm going to hold that thought.
Okay.
If anybody in the comments has a question or something they'd like to hear about, go ahead and post that too. Okay.
Awesome.
Um,
Q&A time coming up.
yes, there you go. Now here's the problem with holding that thought, right? Is
What
that
was it?
I have no idea. Um, darn it. That is also what it is. When I'm in the flow, if I disrupt the flow
Yep.
the flow
We
stops.
so the last thing I said was we get caught up on the do, and if you just focus on the do will take care of itself.
Oh, right. So, I mean, okay. Well, I don't know. Whatever that was is gone. But if you think about it, there's a lot of people say, like for me, for example, I love dogs, like major. And the only thing is that the idea of rescuing dogs or like I know of a chair all of a sudden throat. What's going on?
All right.
Hello. You trying to keep me from talking? I know of a rescue organization that takes in senior dogs that people have literally discarded. They either drop them off at the police station or, yes, definitely giraffes, Wendy. Most definitely giraffes. Um, but anyway, so this woman, she takes dogs that have been discarded, senior dogs, and takes them with love to the end of their life, however long that might be, a year, 2 years, 6 months, whatever it might be. I do not have the constitution for that. That would kill me. It would literally, I would die of a broken heart
Oh, you
doing
mean
that
seeing
work.
how these dogs have been hurt and abused?
No, losing a dog every 2 months
Oh,
or
I
something.
see. I
I would be
see. Because
heartbroken.
they're yeah, they're already near
I
the end.
I would be. I mean, I lost my last dog 10 years ago, and I was devastated for 3 years. Like I would literally, like it would break. I would die of a broken heart. But does that mean she shouldn't do that work? No. Does that mean I can't support those dogs? No. I speak with my money. I actually only donate to dogs. Everybody, I
Wait.
see everybody donates to all kinds of things. I donate to dogs.
Awesome.
That's what it is. Like that's where
Hey,
my
hey,
my
let's
spare money goes.
let's do an episode on dogs and spirituality.
Oh, I know a couple of animal communicators. That would be
And
very fun.
one of my favorite books is by Rupert Sheldrake, and the book is called Dogs Who Know when their owners are coming home. It's fantastic. Rupert Sheldrake is one of these big thinkers. He's a scientist, but he's like totally into the woo woo. So um, we got to do this episode because this is really good. This is going to resonate.
What's his
Is
Rupert?
it Rupert Sheldrake?
I hope that's kind of spelled like I think it is. Rupert Sheld. I put it in the comments.
Okay. Yep, that's
Um,
him.
oh, look at that. It comes up in two places. Anyway, I didn't you broke up a little bit. I didn't catch what the name of the book was.
The name of the book is Dogs Who Know When Their Owners Are Coming Back Home.
They all know that.
Right, right. But here's a scientist that took great lengths to actually video and prove this.
Oh,
And
okay.
So anyway, he's a scientist, and he took this topic and he
Well,
said,
that's because dogs can tell time.
and they also know what their owners are thinking and doing.
Of course they do. They also no, well, never mind. We'll save that for the next one. We'll
Okay.
save that for that. We'll save that for that one because dogs are connivers, and I'm just going to leave it at that.
And Joanna in the comments wants to remember that we have cats too. So if you like cats, cats also have some of that, have a lot of that same, you know, energy.
Oh, just Pam said she likes what we said about just be. She's heard it before, but she'd forgotten. Well,
Yep.
we should make a point of reminding people. Maybe that's the way we sign off the show. So today is the first episode. Like
Yep.
we're feeling everything out, and I think at the end of the show that's something we should say. And remember, folks, just be. I
Right.
love it. I
Okay.
love that.
All right.
Thanks, Pam. We'll remind you.
We've got a tagline.
There you go. Wow. Yeah, dog. I love dogs. Bentley the dog is sleeping. That's what he does a lot lately these days. He's kind of old, so that's all right. He's probably sitting over there thinking how he's going to trick me into giving him some more snacks. Sometimes I think he goes out on purpose just because he knows he's going to get a snack. I always give him a snack when he comes back in.
My son does that with hot chocolate in the winter.
Oh my goodness. Well, so really, if you guys have a question or a thought, please put it in the comments. I can't. Can you think of anything else on Friday the 13th? Oh, I know. I forgot about Friday the 13th, the horror movie.
Oh, that's right. Oh man, the whole
I never seen
franchise.
any of them. Paul said, "Let it be." Yes, he did. Speaking words of wisdom, let it be. Right? I've never seen any of them. I
Nor have
saw
I.
I saw The Shining, and
Yep,
I
I saw
saw
that one.
one Freddy Krueger movie.
I did not
That is
see.
it. That is it. That is it. I don't even know. I don't even know why I saw The Shining because I'm going to tell you that I read The Shining and I never read another Stephen King book
No
again
kidding.
after that.
Wow.
That
I
that
used
was
to read a
it.
lot of his books. I just did not like horror movies. My friends in high school and college, it was such a big thing to go see them, and just not my thing, right?
And it's really funny because well, actually, it was my tax office, which I no longer have. But I always thought it was funny. So I know enough about them to know, like, I live in Crystal Lake, which is Jason, the guy with the hockey mask, right? Is from Crystal Lake.
Oh, I didn't know that. Huh, that's
Yeah.
funny.
Which movie is that? I don't remember. The one with the
Yeah,
hockey
yeah,
mask.
yeah.
He's from Crystal Lake, and at the time, my my tax office was on Elm Street.
Oh
So
no.
I lived in Crystal Lake, with the hockey mask
Right?
scary guy. I can't think of
Nightmare?
I can't think of the name of that. But then Elm Street, Nightmare on Elm Street, Freddy Krueger. I'm like, geez. So yeah, so I've never I decided when I read The Shining that my imagination was too vivid. That it was just too vivid and it was too much. Those things get
Yeah.
like, a lot of people say, "Oh, you know, nightmares." I I don't remember my dreams as a rule, but I know that I'm processing input. And I used to read before I went to sleep, right? Like that'd be
Right.
how I would wind down to go to sleep.
Yep.
And then I would have freaking nightmares, right? Like, and why? Because and it's because all of that is just in there. And I'm telling you, the movie didn't do my imagination justice. Like my imagination took me to places that
Really,
that, that movie could never possibly
your
go.
imagination was worse than the movie.
Oh yeah, most
Oh
definitely,
wow.
most
Oh, that's great.
definitely. So I
By the
read
way,
that.
Jason with a mask, that is Friday the 13th.
Oh, it is Friday.
Yep.
Oh, well, see,
Yep.
there you go.
There
Friday.
you go.
That is hilarious.
Yep.
So yeah, my son used to have one of those masks like on his dashboard. It's just crazy. Um, yeah, so that's never been my thing. I don't know. Like Halloween, I've never seen any of the Halloween movies.
I think I saw one.
Yeah, they're just not my.
Right. Hey, now that we're on the topic, I got a movie that I saw just a few weeks ago that I really, really, really like. And the movie is called Kardec with a Kardec.
Hmm,
And the movie is about the beginning of the spiritualism religious movement. So just briefly, it takes place in Paris, and it's around the time where people are doing seances, and there's a lot of charlatans and a lot of trickery going on. But then there's the real psychic mediums. It's when like mediumship was really kind of becoming well known and popular. And so the main character, his taken name, the name that he gave himself is Kardec, but his real name, and I've forgotten his real name. It's a historical movie, and he's a school teacher that quits and wants to become a writer. And one of his friends takes him to a seance, and he's like, going into that, he says, "This is all bunk. I don't believe it." And then the psychic says tells him something that he had whispered to his wife the night before. No one could have known that, and he was just really, really shocked. And so he said, "You know what? If this is true, then I'm going to take a scientific um, approach to this." And he interviewed a whole bunch of mediums, and he asked them the same questions. And almost to the word, they said the same things. And he was just blown away by this. He published a book on it. The book went out and became the beginning of the spiritualism movement.
hmm.
Fantastic movie.
So, is that what prompted you to write those questions
Yes, it is.
for your book?
So in my book, actually, it was a download. I'd seen the movie, and then one morning I woke up and I got a download. You get a message right when you're between sleeping and awaking,
Yep, I love that
and yeah, I
place.
do too. That period of the day is just the most magical. And the message was, you need to do this for your book. I'm like, oh, oh, that's cool, because my book handles a lot of topics, and I'm kind of, I wanted to know, this is what I understand about these topics. What does spirit say? So I have a section to my book where I did exactly that. Thank you, Angie, for participating in that. Thrilled that you were that you did, and that everything you said is exactly the same as what the other psychics said.
That's just so amazing. I mean, because when I read that list of questions,
Mhm.
and y'all will have to buy his book, I guess, to
Coming
see
out
what they
soon. It's the
are.
Woo Woo book. It's called the Woo Woo book.
When I read that list of questions, I was like, I don't really like some of these questions.
Yep.
Because my mind is like,
Right.
well, I feel strongly about this,
Right.
right? I feel strongly about some of these things. And, as you know by the answers I gave you, some of the short and very succinct answers given by Matthew were
Right.
very truth, cut to
Right.
the chase,
Cut to
to
the
the
chase.
point,
Two-word
and
answer. Yep.
and really mirror the way that I feel, right?
Yep.
So when I looked at it, I thought, I don't know if he's gonna like my answers when I give him to, when I send him back. So I don't know if I want to do this. And then I thought about it, and I thought, no, this is about me standing in my truth,
Hmm.
and channeling the answers, because the truth is the answers that I get are my truth, right? I connect to my truth,
Yep. Yep.
right? So this is about me standing in my own truth, and giving you the answers based on, sort of my filter and the way I feel.
Yep.
So I love the idea that the answers that I gave you are, similar or identical to the ones that you got from other
Right.
people.
Which just goes to say that there's a universal truth out there that we're all filtering through one way or the other, but that universal truth out there it's real.
I would, I suppose, and I don't know how you would go about this. I know that there's other people out there that think differently than I do.
Okay. Fair enough. Fair enough.
Uh, so I would be interested to see what kind of answers a person like that would give me.
Sure.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yep.
I don't know how you would go about quantifying that. And the truth is you're connected to your tribe, right? So
True.
that
Yep.
tells me that, you got the same answers that I gave. That tells me that you are
We're in the
part of
same.
my tribe, right?
That's a really
We're
good
part of
point.
each other's tribe,
Yep.
right?
Yep.
Because we get, similar answers. So
Yep.
I mean,
You know,
there's
to your point, if I went out and asked someone that was into like dark magic, those questions, there would probably he probably channel some different answers.
absolutely. I just think it would be interesting.
Yeah.
I don't think they would be correct. I mean,
No.
there is that thing in me that says I'm right, right? Like, you know, I do understand that truth is subjective, but I
Yep.
also have a very strong connection to the light, right? Like,
Yeah. Absolutely.
um, so, and eh, for
I,
me,
I
I
think
am
I
right, right? Like,
well, do you think there's some like we're talking big picture now, some big picture truths that are universal? I mean, I don't think you're going to get an opposite answer from what you said from someone else who is also tapping into the truth.
right, right.
So the bigger picture,
Yeah. So
I
is
think
that
the
the bigger
details are different.
picture?
Right.
The people, because I mean, there have been books. I can think of one in particular. It's in a local crystal shop. And this particular medium, and I'm not going to mention her name. But she wrote a book. I had seen her, like I actually had a reading with her, and it was all crap. Like, yes.
Don't you
Well,
hate that?
well, I mean, I'm kind of accustomed to it nowadays, but everything she said to me was, it was just not right. Like it was just not right.
Yep.
Whatever. I'm used to that for myself, right? But she wrote a book that was supposedly channeled information,
Okay.
right?
Yep.
So she channeled this information, wrote this book. Book is published, it's on the shelf in the store, and I thought, oh, okay. Well, I got to the book and I picked up the book and I went to lift the cover and I was like, oh no, the energy. I'm an energy master.
Right. Right. Okay.
The energy coming off that book was like sludge.
No way. You could feel
Way,
that. That's so cool.
way. So, and the thing is, I am not a fear conscious person at all. Like
No,
I
no,
have pretty
no.
much zero fear consciousness,
Zero
right?
fear. Yeah, I can tell. That's
Um,
a good way to say it.
right, Joanna? Yuck. Um, but what worries me is the people who are vulnerable to that pick that up and read it and use it as some kind of mantra for the way they move through life are really missing out hugely on human experience.
Hmm. Yep. It
Oh, I will tell you. I will tell you, Nora. Hello, Nora. I will tell you, but not online. Um,
right. We don't want to make any enemies in the publishing world at this point.
right. uh, but I mean, it was, I, I, I I worry. I worry about people,
I guess
people
I
who
think
are
that goes
new,
back to be the light, though, right?
right?
How what do you do for people that get it wrong, or darkness, or the
It's
sludgy
it's
energy?
their
You
truth.
be
It's
you
their
be the
path.
light,
That's all
right?
you can do.
Right.
It's all you can do. But you you also can not react, right? You can
True.
not react
True.
because and you can keep yourself in that state of neutral, which is free from assumption,
Hmm.
judgment, self-doubt, and fear. That's how I live, in the state of neutral. That is part of my daily practice, neutral.
Tell me about that, because those terms, I'm 100% with you, but tell me about that day, the daily ritual part. That sounds really interesting. That might be a
Oh,
good
okay.
takeaway.
So, well, actually, if you go to my Facebook page, you'll see that very soon there'll be a sign up to a planner, like, and you can see it all in the planner. But the ritual, you know what? We're gonna go over it, but that's all right. If you're all right with going over a couple of
I
minutes, I'm all
I'm
right. It's 4 now.
I'm right
All
here.
right. So this is what it is. Is this the same as the observer mind? Is what the same as the observer mind?
What you're just saying about being neutral,
Oh,
is that the
probably.
same? Yep,
Probably,
yep.
right?
I think so.
Probably. Okay, so I'm going to run it through really quickly. It'll give you a really good idea, and maybe you can connect to the energy of it. So because rather than gasho, right? I'll do this. Yeah, yes, I think being neutral is the same as the observer mind. Yeah, I think that's so. But you should be able to actually you can feel it. So this is what I do. I and my surroundings are filled with light to create a safe and sacred container from which to do my work. Only good comes to me, and only good comes from me. And I give thanks for the many blessings and the healing that is about to take place within this container. In this moment, I invite all the guides, teachers, and angels who are necessary to the work that I'm going to do today to join me. And now I connect with my physical body and invite it to release all assumption, judgment, self doubt, and fear so that I may be a perfect and open channel for the wisdom that is about to flow. Thank you. And so it is. I
That was
love it.
really, really good.
Right?
Right? I jumping ahead of myself a little bit, I think we should put that as a prayer that people can download or copy or copy.
It's in that planner that I wrote, so where people
Okay,
could write
okay.
they could write their own. So
So when we do readings, we need to have a kind of an opening prayer or of well, exactly what you just did. I would
mhm.
love to take that and have that be my.
Absolutely. I would love
Yeah,
everybody to use it. So,
it's
yeah,
fantastic.
absolutely.
Oh my gosh, that's just
And
perfect.
I mean, the
Right.
energy part of it is me, but you
Yep.
generate that own energy for yourself. That's the
Mm,
energy it generates for me, right?
hmm.
Like,
You
so,
can
but if
feel
you
it.
connect to that, there is an energy to that. So that's amazing, right?
Fantastic. Yeah, that's
Wow.
really good. That's really
This
good.
was so much
I know.
fun. I can't believe it's over
I
already.
know. This just whipped by.
And we had people join us, which
Yep.
was amazing.
Yep. Thank you
Um,
all for people that were watching
yeah,
and
for
listening.
all of you that joined us live, and please feel free to share from the Facebook page or from the YouTube channel. Feel free to share because of course it's recorded, so anybody can listen to it. You can listen to it again. If you joined us late, you could go back in and listen in the beginning. Um, we are so excited. We are going to be doing this every week. We might have to adjust the timing a little bit,
Yep.
but we'll see how that goes. But we will post it always, ahead of time so that you know. Also, if you are a light worker in any way, shape, or form, and I mean any way, shape, or form, whatever that looks like for you, please feel free to reach out or pay attention to when we, put the word out that we're looking for people to come on and join us because
Hmm.
we would love for this to be a really beautiful open forum so that people can take what resonates with them and leave the rest.
For sure. I would love to be able to connect with as many light workers as possible through this. And we want dialogue. We want questions. We want to share what you do with others.
Hmm.
So yeah, be
Yeah,
great.
I mean, that's the whole idea. So, we also will be uploading this to a podcast platform. So pay attention, stay tuned for that. I think the conversation works well enough that you could listen to it, in the
Hmm.
radio. No, listen to it in the car on the radio, not in the radio on the car. That wouldn't work. Um, Thank you, Joanna. So yeah, thank you all for joining us so much. I'm so glad that we were able to connect with you. So don't forget, Facebook, Lasting Serenity. Look at the events tab, and you'll find the train ride with Matthew. That's taking place on Sunday the 22nd. I'm really excited about that one. That's well, everybody loves a train ride. Like, what's not to love? And so I think maybe there might be at least one or two people in the audience here that have participated. Check out tarotgeek.com and join
Thank
us
you.
for I might not be on that. I'll see.
Yeah,
I'm
that's
gonna
one of our
try.
scheduling things. But
Yeah, it's one of those scheduling things, but there's one coming up on the 27th. He's
yep,
got
27th.
a reading exchange,
Yep, two
which
weeks
is
from today.
always a lot of fun. So tarotgeek.com or Tarot Geek Facebook page. And then there's the Tarot Geek Facebook group as well. And
Correct.
I have Lasting Serenity Insiders, which I think everybody I saw here is in there. So, but please feel free to invite people or share. We really want to make 2023 like
This is our year.
blast off. We have a lot of plans. We have a lot of things, in the works. And a lot of it, we want to be as collaborative as possible. So,
For sure.
once again, thank you all so much.
Yep.
John, thank you for joining
Yeah,
me. Like, the idea
thanks,
of
Angie.
doing this on my own was not something that I wanted to do.
Likewise. Yeah.
You
So
know,
we can go on and on about that, but this is great. This collaboration is just hmm.
and for me, it's much better if it's a conversation.
Hmm.
I much prefer it to be a conversation. The whole idea of doing a podcast and just talking, just to hear,
I did that years and years ago, and it was holy cow. You get like, oh my God. Anyway, this is
yep,
perfect.
it's
This is the
tough.
right format.
So, all right. Well, that concludes. Typically, we will be an hour, but I think it was worth it to go over a few minutes.
Yeah.
So this is Angie saying thank you very much,
And
and
John saying, just be.
just be. Thank you so much, everyone.